there's like 200 people in the line wanting their stuff signed, and I'm like, dude, I am a guy from Portland. Like at that point, there's total imposter syndrome, and I'm like, you really want my signature on this stuff? Like that's crazy to me.
Gabe of Unto Otters, how are you doing, man? You seem pretty fresh, laid back. What's going on right
that's
now?
good because I'm really hungover.
Okay, great. Let's start there.
Yeah.
What did you have last night?
Oh, my mom actually called me and my brother and wanted to go out to dinner, and then my little brother's like, "Oh, I got the day off work tomorrow," and I'm like, "Well, all right." And so we were out till like not too late, like 11:30, but that's really late for me. I'm usually in bed by like 8:30, so
Okay, you're more a
yeah.
morning person.
Yeah, usually.
We're
'Cause
just a
my
very
mom-
long sleep person. That is also.
Yeah, no, it's kind of nice going to bed at 9 o'clock, waking up at like 5. I enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah. All right, cool. So we have somebody that is labeled goth rock that likes sunlight. What's going on? That doesn't. Maybe
Well,
labels aren't real.
no, they shouldn't be. And
Yeah,
yeah, like I was never the guy who started calling us goth. That was other
yeah.
people.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I was in the Boy Scouts growing up, and my dad was pretty disciplinarian, and I just like the mornings. I mean,
Yeah,
I, I like getting a great night's sleep and making the most of my day. That's why I'm able to do all the things I do. I have the
yeah.
time.
All right. Awesome. Now, before we get started and talk about Neverland and everything that's going to happen, let's address an elephant in the room real quick of something that's not happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if Blackie just figured out that you might be somewhat of a heathen, but that was a surprise update. How are you guys doing? I know that there's shows coming, obviously, with
Yeah.
Green
Well,
Lung,
yeah.
but how did you live through that moment right now?
Oh, it was honestly, it wasn't the biggest deal, to be honest. Like we had just gotten off of a summer tour that was, it was fun, but it was like 3 weeks. It was pretty hectic, crazy,
Hmm.
and uh, none of us were really looking forward to being in a van for 7 weeks, and and really like it was 30-minute sets a night, so we were actually kind of, you know, dragging our feet on it a little bit, going, "Ah, shit, this we got to go do this thing." Not that touring can't be fun sometimes and awesome, but when you do it all the time, you start to wish you could get some sleep.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, like I was like, oh well, that's crazy. I mean, like literally crazy. Like this is not, in my opinion, a smart move at all. But it's not my tour; it's his
Yeah,
tour.
yeah, yeah.
Do whatever he wants with it, as he showed. So here we are, no tour. Obviously for the best, because I don't think we would have been treated very well. But yeah, next on to New Horizons. So I got the fall free. I'm just gonna enjoy it.
It's been busy for you. Obviously, I saw you play, I think, last when you were in Toronto with Carcass, Arch Enemy, and Behemoth.
Yeah,
Which, to jump off there, you guys somehow found yourself very easily to be fit with so many different bands and different genres as well. Like you say yourself, like I wouldn't really necessarily call it, label us in a very specific way. But does it sometimes surprise you that bands like the Arch Enemies and the Behemoths seem to be a good fit, but at the same time, you guys are so accepted in the trad metal space as well? And I know that you're definitely influenced by 80s classic metal, but
yeah.
you're not the stereotypical Hell's Heroes Keep It True band at the same time with the
No,
3 Inches of Bloods and the Eternal Champions. Like, does that surprise you at times?
yes and no, because I mean, it's evident in the music. You can hear those influences, and the fans aren't stupid. They can hear them too.
Right.
And they're attracted to the same things I'm attracted to because I'm one of them. I love heavy metal. There's a reason we can play with Behemoth and Arch Enemy. We're huge fans of those bands. I grew up listening to Arch Enemy. Michael Amott is one of my favorite guitarists ever. And so it's only natural that some of those aspects are going to bleed into our music and make our music accessible to fans of those bands as well. But yeah, like even as you said with Keep It True, the first time we played at noon. We were the first band on, and we were really nervous because I was like, we're not cool enough for this fest, basically. we're people are going to think we suck or we're lame or something. And it was the total opposite. It was packed out at noon, and I think they said we broke merch records for an opening band at the festival.
Okay.
So, yeah, we sold like something like 500 vinyl or some insane amount of Mana vinyls because they just came out.
Right.
And actually, the album wasn't due to come out for 2 weeks, so everyone there, if they bought a vinyl, could hear it out. So I think it was just a crazy day. It was a crazy day. That was the first time we ever had a signing table after signing session, and there's like 200 people in the line wanting their stuff signed, and I'm like, dude, I am a guy from Portland. Like at that point, there's total imposter syndrome, and I'm like, you really want my signature on this stuff? Like that's crazy to me. And to this day, it still does feel a bit crazy when people line up and wait to just get a photo or have a CD signed. It's kind of odd.
This album comes with its surprises. There's no doubt about it. There's songs that are very different than other songs. Some songs that have already been released as video singles as well. This is your third album, and in the world of the heavy metal that we both love, if you look back, especially at those '80s albums, those classic albums, the third album tends to be a special one. It often defines the sound of a band, right? We're talking about Number of the Beast. We're talking Masters of Puppets. Was that on your mind as well? Like for you as a fan of the classic stuff, was it like this album? It has to both be, it has to be broad enough so that it captures everything that we do, but it also kind of has to show like this is the defining voice of Unto Others. Did you feel that pressure going into this one?
Yes and no. I'm aware of the 3-album thing, and usually you have your breakout record that everyone loves, then you have your sophomore slump, and then you come back into your own on the third album. But while it was there, I wouldn't say I was like keeping it in the forefront of my mind.
Right.
I was just writing like I always do. But I will say that the first record was Idle Hands, and then the second, Strength, I wanted to keep those attributes going, mana, strength, things like that. I was going to call this one Luck, but it all worked for Idle Hands, and I felt like I was trying to force it. So with this one being Neverland and Unto Others, I feel like it's our first real Unto Others release. Really so it is kind of a defining record, I feel like. Definitely, I feel like it's a footstep in some new world, for sure.
We're opening the door, at least at some points, for the Danzigs and the Cures of this world to come in, but with some fun. Is that also important when you're going through this? Because a lot of the bands that people compare you with, either people don't think that they're quote unquote fun bands, or the band would say we're a fun band, but people kind of misinterpret who we are. How much is that? Because that fun element, based on the times that I was able to see you as a support, where you have a limited time and you're obviously not working with your own production, you kind of shackle a little bit. On this album, I feel like I get a more fun Unto Others than I've seen before.
For sure. I've always been focused on the fun because I have to play it and I have to listen to it. And while I am fans of bands like The Cure, Depeche Mode, or whatever, anytime one of those tracks goes for like 9 minutes and it's just like fucking woe is me, ambient kind of guitars just droning on, you're supposed to like get lost in the wash of sound or something. I hate that shit. I am much more of an active listener. For the most part, there is, you know, a lot of great long songs I enjoy, but for the most part, when I'm writing, I'm always trying to be as efficient as possible. I'm looking at like,
Hmm.
why is that there? Can that be cut down? Is that useful? What is this? Is this faux art? I always feel like it's really hard dodging the landmines of this is so artistic. It's like, no, it's not. You just played a riff for 6 minutes. Like, that's not art. That's you faking art. Real art, I feel like, has to have distinct purpose. So I just try to put that in each song. But yeah, I even though I might not look like it all the time, I am a fun guy. I like having fun. I like laughing. I'm a big fan of comedy, Simpsons, The Office, Futurama, all that kind of crap. And I grew up watching all that stuff. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Jim Carrey, you name it. And so that dorky stuff bleeds into the music, whether I
Yeah.
like it or not. So yeah, that's probably where that fun side is coming from.
Yeah, for sure. Now, and that's also because, I mean, you are still channeling some darker sides as well. And you know, if you were to read without interpretation some of the lyrics that are not accompanied by sometimes upbeat harmonies and stuff like that, it might look bleaker than it comes across. Like finding that balance, is that tough? Because you know, you talk about some dark stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, I've always just been fascinated with the darker aspects and extremes of humanity and the human experience. Um, you know, suicide, murder, drugs, violence, war, things like that have always piqued my interest. I don't know why. I assume it's the same reason Cops is on TV and everyone listens to Dateline and watches the
Right.
evening news. Um, it's funny that people will say, you know, this record's really dark, and then you go and you turn on your TV at 4:30 in the afternoon. And they're like, a child was murdered by his stepfather, and then the stepfather committed suicide, and you're like, everyone thinks that's normal to hear every day. You know what I mean? So, but
Hmm.
what you throw in a song, and then all of a sudden it's dark, and you're brooding. You must have issues. Um, so yeah, it's. I found it's not really about what you're saying; it's how you say it. So that's probably what's coming across there. But for sure, I have a huge interest in the extremes.
You're not touring right now with W.A.S.P, but there are some shows announced with Green Lung. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and you know, kind of like a similar, like your bands are very different, but you both have that colorful yet dark vibe at the same time, right? Um,
yeah.
uh, there's with lack of a better word that we used earlier, there's a spookiness to that, if you will, so that fits well. So, what can we expect from those shows? And you know, as you're not as busy right now as you thought you would be, you're not spending 7 weeks in a crammed van right
Yeah,
now, which is fun.
yeah.
What is on, or what is going to come on the agenda if we look a little further ahead?
As you know, the rug got pulled out from underneath us, and we have like very minimal time to come up with the replacement thing.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have U.S. touring plans next year. You know, a lot of people are very kind. They reach out. They say, "You can come play my venue. You know, we'll book you." And I'm like, "A, I don't book myself anymore. Sometimes I wish I could, of course, but I have a team,
Hmm.
and we're all working on figuring out what the best option is." And it's like I can't just go out and headline some gigs
Yeah, yeah.
because we're planning on coming there next year with other bands, and there's a way the business works, and blah blah blah. So, U.S. will be next year. Um, Green Lung Europe will be next year, but for the rest of this year, we're just kind of scrambling to see like, okay, are there any other support slots we can fill? Maybe a little 1, 2, 3 week jaunts in America. So if we get lucky, we come across something. Sure, we'll announce something probably by next month. If not, I'll probably do a Halloween show in Portland or something similar and just take the winter off. I haven't had a
Uh,
Thanksgiving or a Halloween at home in like 5 years. We this year, all we've done touring wise was the 3 weeks in Europe. They were big. There are a lot of festivals and stuff. But before that, I don't think we played one. We played two other gigs this year.
yeah.
Uh, in Canada with 3 Inches of Blood, 3 shows. And then last year we did 1 tour. We did a world tour, again, a big one, but it was only a month. You know, when you're talking about like the average band that's like out there kicking ass, they're touring 3-4 months out of the year, 5 months out of the year. We're touring right now like once per year for the past 2 or 3 years. So, and then next year, I mean, yeah, with this W.A.S.P thing being dropped, this is another year where we're only on the road for a month. So
yeah.
Well, aside from that, yes, we have been busy with everything else.
Well, yeah. And does it maybe let's ask you it this way. Does it surprise you with, in, you know, your quote unquote own words of, we haven't really been touring that much, but you probably have been playing the right spots, because it's undeniable to see where the band has grown to today, you know, when it comes to your reach, your presence, people that are dropping your name, people that are paying attention to a new album coming out versus a couple of years ago. So does that evolution surprise you?
Yeah, quite a bit. I will say, yeah, like even from Strength coming out 3 years ago till now, I would say our popularity's probably doubled, if not perhaps getting close to tripled. So yeah, you know, you do see a lot of support from a lot of really cool people, a lot of surprising people. Like last year when Jeff Walker from Carcass called us to come open their UK dates, I was like, what? And I talked to him and he's like, yeah, you know, thank you guys so much for coming out. I totally thought you wouldn't do it. I was like, what are you talking about? You're fucking Carcass. And he's like, well, you know, you got to fly all the way over here. I'm like, oh no, I have to go to the UK. I go, come on, dude.
You already sold me.
Yeah, you know, and Carcass, like, they're the nicest band, and their crew are so nice. They're the nicest people ever, and I love that. But yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
2025 is going to be very soon. So a lot of touring is going to happen. So whether it's in a bus or a van, you guys better get ready. Have more early evenings and early mornings, and less drinking with your mom, so that you feel fresh.
Well, it's with my mom had a few. It's with my little brother Conan, actually, but yeah. But yes, less drinking on Thursdays.
Less drinking on Thursdays. There we go. Keep your drinking for other days of the week, everybody. Well, Gabe, thanks so much for you know, sharing some insights here with us, and we're excited, obviously, to see something come out in exactly a week as we're talking, which is cool. I know that means for you just a lot of online stuff to deal with, and responding to comments and messages and all that kind of good stuff. But I hope you find some time. I hope you find some time to just take it in and enjoy this release as well, and then you guys can get ready for 2025.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the insightful questions. And I just wanted to say, are those original Derek Riggs illustrations on your wall?
They are prints of Derek Riggs. They are originally signed though, so it's, you know, it's still something. No,
that's still cool as hell. And now I want to go buy some.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.